and welcome to my senior capstone proposal. As mentioned, I am Heather Galbreath, and today my presentation is on Hawaiian urban legends and how they were influenced by multicultural folklore during Hawaii's plantation era. Let's get started. So, hi, I'm Heather. My journey to this particular moment right now has been a long and winding road. I graduated from Hawaiian Mission Academy in 2007 and started attending UH West as part of their first freshman class. Took me a little while to figure out what I wanted to do. I changed majors several times, quit school for a little bit, and yeah, just didn't take education seriously. My grandfather actually inspired me to never stop learning. And so that motivated me to go back to school where I went to Leeward and got two associates from there, one in digital photography and the other in digital media production. Came back to UH West spring 2024, where I'm now majoring in creative media with an emphasis in communications and new media technology. I am an aspiring storyteller, filmmaker, and I am excited to be here in this moment. It's been a long time coming. The end is near. I can feel it. So moving on, just a general overview of what I will be discussing today. So in a moment, I will be going over my thesis statement, followed by the objective and rationale of the research I conducted, my plans for my senior capstone, what I plan on doing for my deliverable, and followed by the problems, the solutions, the so what of it all. So my thesis statement is: the urban legends and folk stories that emerged from Hawaii's plantation era were not just tall tales or superstitions, but vital cultural tools that helped communities process their anxieties, negotiate the indigenous spiritual landscape, and perform cultural resilience against systemic oppression. So my objective and rationale for the research conducted, I'm going to start with the rationale first. It's mostly out of personal interest. As a child growing up, I was very strange and unusual. I loved spooky things, all things horror related. And as an adult, I found myself working as a scare actor at Haunted Plantation in Waipahu. So this all just feels really natural to me. Really, I feel drawn to it. And then, of course, here at West Oahu, Dr. Cordy's mythology courses were some of my favorite memories. Going to school where we would all sit in a circle and just tell each other mo'olelo of Hawaiian gods and goddesses and all the problems that they encountered and the shenanigans they got into. So that was a fun experience. And of course, I feel like urban legends are an overlooked part of Hawaiian history. It's like most people are more familiar with foods, music, pidgin English that emerged out of the plantation era. So I wanted to investigate and see if if that's where they really came from, and two, how they were influenced by other cultures. And of course, here in Hawaii, storytelling and mo'olelo are important in Hawaiian culture. It's an oral tradition that preserves genealogy, knowledge, and values, and an important connection to the land, or aina. So a couple of objectives are to demonstrate how the island's indigenous spiritual principles and imported immigrant folklore created a unique form of cross-cultural spiritual syncretism, or emerging, and established that the shared intimate knowledge of the new supernatural environment became an important social marker for belonging to the new local community, otherwise known as, if you know, you know. Moving on. So my plan for my deliverable is to produce a 15 to 30-minute oral history documentary to bring the study of urban legends and folklore to life. You can read Glenn Grant's Obake Files and scary stories, but you can't, reading it in text doesn't capture the narrator's influence, their tone, and the fear that they produce. And so I feel like it's lost in print that way. So a visual audio format would be the way to go. Documentary's core function is to provide evidence of spiritual syncretism, featuring interviews with individuals from Japanese, Filipino, and Native Hawaiian backgrounds who share the exact same localized legends by showcasing stories about the night marchers, faceless woman, and Pele, just to name a few. The goal is to demonstrate how these diverse stories merged into a local identity. And also, interviewing descendants of immigrant laborers also gives an opportunity to assert their history and identity in their own voice. And I feel like a 15 to 30-minute runtime will allow enough exploration for the case studies and also be able to like hold an audience's attention. So on to the significance. I'm not actually, first of all, I'm not trying to rewrite history, just maybe like offer a different perspective on it. Um, so redefine the pot myth, shows that unity was achieved not through assimilation, but through a collective respect for the supernatural laws of the land. It offers a different viewpoint of the laborer's experience and could compel future historians to re-examine cross-ethnic cooperation, such as the major plantation strikes, not as a sudden political event, but as the visible political manifestation of a cultural unity already established through shared folklore. And of course, archiving marginalized voices. A lot of plantation records focus on numbers and production, and not on laborers' internal lives, like how are they feeling. Folklore used as this historical document to access the psychological and emotional experience of the workers, such as their anxieties and fears. Archives the history of the powerless, which is otherwise omitted from official record. So using urban legends as a social text elevates oral history to the status of a primary archival source, which can encourage future historians studying any period of oppression to prioritize the folklore and emotional narratives of the marginalized. Justification. So this would be where my data would. I don't have any fancy graphs or tables for justifying why a documentary is important, but I have a few cool quotes here. From Parminder Veer, BBC executive and documentarian. Documentary films tell important, often unknown stories and bring awareness to a wider audience and are some of the best resources for information, inspiration, and entertainment. And then Ken Burns, if you ever took a Dan Boylan class at West Oahu, we watched Civil War, the documentary by Ken Burns. So it is the kind of emotional archaeology that we are attempting, listening to the ghosts and echoes of an almost inexpressibly wise past. So my target audience would primarily be supernatural and folklore enthusiasts, as like this ghost hunter right here. But based on the potential for the documentary, it could expand to scholarly and community audiences. And especially those descendants of plantation laborers, high school and university students, and cultural practitioners as well. So a couple problems that I will try to solve is like urban legends and folklore often pass off as just stories or tall tales, but to view them as such just diminishes real suffering and hard-fought process of community building. And creating a documentary would offer a revised history, validating immigrants' experiences by showing that their unity was created through shared supernatural fear and respect, not through passive compliance. And another problem is in modern Hawaii, local identity is often surface level or based on food and language. And when I mean surface level, I mean like asking somebody what high school you went grad, right? So I hope to explore that more deeper and through spiritual and historical sense. So genuine belonging is demonstrated by possessing intimate, practical knowledge of the island's supernatural topography, specifically knowing where night marchers roam and the boundaries of Pele's influence. So I have a lot of work cut out for me. I feel like I should have done the documentary first and then use what I learned from that to go into my research paper. So definitely more research is necessary. And of course I have to find people to interview. So I got to reach out to cultural practitioners, especially Lopaka Kapanui, master storyteller here in Hawaii. Coordinate filming times with people, assemble a crew. I can't do this on my own. So I need my Avengers to assemble. I need a lighting guy, sound guy, people to help me film. develop a script. Most of all, what kind of questions am I going to ask them? Location scouting. I don't want to break any rules. I don't want to break any laws and get arrested for filming on private property. So I want to be sure I get all the necessary documents to permit me to film. And then, of course, budgeting. I want to compensate people for their time. And transportation would be a big one because I don't drive. So Uber is my main source sometimes. And then productions, like organize everything, pivot and improvise, deal with unexpected challenges. Most of all, enjoy the process. It's turning out to be a bigger thing than I thought it would. It was a passion project, and now it's like, whoa, this is a lot. Oh, sorry. And then post, just do a lot of editing, find the perfect soundtrack. This could air on Olelo, PBS Hawaii, maybe some film festival circuits. Who knows? That would be exciting though. Some deliverable examples. So this is Hawaiian Voices. So it's in the Ulu Ulu archives at West Oahu, but it just explores the heritage of Hawaii, focusing on Native Hawaiian history, culture, and music. And they interview like 3 different kupuna. This is Kohala, is the oral history project, interviewing kupuna from the Big Island who grew up in plantation camps. And then this is a still from a short film I did with Professor Farinella in her short film class last semester. It's an interview that I did with my grandfather, and that's inspiration for me. Another inspiration would be, so this Hawaiian Ghost Stories is a locally produced film. It's on Amazon, but it had a Are You Afraid of the Dark format to it, where if you're not familiar with Are You Afraid of the Dark, it's a Nickelodeon show from the 90s where a bunch of kids gathered around a campfire to tell each other scary stories of the week. So in this one, had an uncle gather kids around a fireplace and told them Hawaiian urban legends like Faceless Lady, and some others. So kind of want to go that format. We'll see. If I do film in a studio, this is from the Unexplained Paranormal Stories of the Honolulu Police Department. And I like this lighting. It's kind of spooky, kind of like, yeah, kind of spooky. And then from PBS Hawaii, they followed Lupaka Kapanui on one of his ghost tours in downtown Honolulu. So right here, I have some stills of some B-roll footage that I took back in October, planning on incorporating that into my project. And this scary figure right here is the Faceless Woman. My boss from Haunted Plantation created this mask, and I have permission to use it if I wanted to, and I probably will. So that's exciting. We have reached the end, so thank you. I will try to answer any questions to the best of my ability. Please be kind, please be gentle. If not, my Haunted Plantation character will haunt you in your dreams. Thank you.